Welcome educators, teachers, administrators, and esteemed guests to the 4th Annual School Reform Initiative Winter Meeting. My name is Julian and I'm a senior at the International School of the Americas. Here in San Antonio, where teachers and students regularly use SRI protocols and practices. First off, I hope San Antonio's winter hasn't been too hot for some of your tastes. Secondly, it is my privilege this morning to introduce you to a very special person. It is often said that America's youth hold the key to our country's success. This man is certainly no exception. After high school, he attended Stanford University and Harvard Law School, graduating with honors and a Juris Doctorate, respectively. If that isn't impressive enough, at age 26, he became our city's youngest elected city councilman, and 8 years later, he became the youngest mayor of a top 50 American city, San Antonio. A whopping 82% vote secured his re-election in 2011, exemplifying city residents' happiness with his programs and initiatives. Among his most well-known programs are Decade of Downtown, an inner-city revitalization program aimed at bringing downtown San Antonio and surrounding areas back to their former glories, SA 2020, a vision to catalyze the entire San Antonio community into passionate, focused, and sustained action to achieve the shared goals that will transform San Antonio into a world-class city. And my personal favorite, Cafe College, a center with a misleading name, but providing resources to help virtually any student with college admissions, financial aid, and standardized test preparation. Serving more than 5,000 students in its first year, Cafe College not only unleashes the academic potential of students, but also demonstrates the mayor's trust in San Antonio's youth's ability to bring positive change to the city, the country, and eventually the world. Most recently, he was successful in convincing the San Antonio voters to fund his Pre-K for SA initiative, which will provide quality, full-day pre-K education to 4-year-olds. You may have seen him this summer when his keynote address at the Democratic National Convention drew national attention. In 7 years, while in the midst of pursuing a doctorate in astrophysics, I cannot wait to come back to the city I call home and behold its unparalleled growth and success. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of San Antonio, Mr. Julian Castro.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, I think, how do you follow that? I have no doubt, Julio, that you are going to get that doctorate in astrophysics, and I look forward to seeing you come back to San Antonio and make a great impact in our community. And really, it's students like Julio that all of us are working for each and every day, and so it's wonderful, and thank you for the introduction. I also want to say, first of all, bienvenidos a San Antonio. Welcome to San Antonio. I want to thank, of course, all of the SRI folks, and particularly Heidi Vasikas and Carrie Thurer, who I hear had quite a hand in choosing San Antonio to have the winter meeting. I also want to thank the 13 board members of SRI, as well as 2 San Antonians, Angela Bridenstine and Liana Libatorre. I hope I got that right. Well, I wanted to start off by telling you a quick story. It's a story that I love to tell, and some folks in San Antonio may have heard it before. It's the story of the day after I found out that I passed the bar exam. I have a twin brother, Joaquin, who was just elected to Congress, and Joaquin and I went to public schools our entire life until we went to college and law school. And we graduated from law school in 2000. And took the bar exam like good budding lawyers would do, and found out on October 30th that we had actually passed the bar exam. It's kind of weird. The way that you find out whether you passed the bar exam is that you scroll onto a page on the Texas Bar website, and they have everyone listed who passed. So if you don't see your name, you're quite depressed. Well, on the night of October 30th of that year, we saw our name, and so we thought, wow, we passed the bar, we're going to be lawyers. The next day I went to lunch at a local restaurant, and I was going to meet up with Erica, who I was dating then and is now my wife. And so I got there a little bit early, probably about 11:55. And waited for a little while, and y'all might think that all politicians are very extroverted, like we're loud, but actually that's not true. I'm actually kind of quiet. So I sort of stepped back to the side, and today I was in a kind of effervescent mood because I had just passed the bar exam. So I blurted out to a hostess who was standing at a podium, kind of like this, taking reservations. I said, "I just passed the bar." She said, "Oh, you're gonna be a bartender?" And it was a very funny moment, and I remember it, of course, because it was that. But I also remember it because in the back of my mind, there was something a little bit troubling about it. What troubled me was a reminder that too oftentimes our young folks haven't had the opportunity, particularly in low-income communities, urban communities, haven't had the opportunity to have their horizons expanded, to become doctors, to become lawyers, to become astrophysicists, to pursue the fullness of America and all that's possible. And we know that in this 21st century global economy, that brain power is the new currency of success. The people that have it, the communities that have it, the nations that have it, are the ones that are going to thrive in the years to come. You guys are in the perfect place for the SRI winter meeting for two reasons, other than the fact that San Antonio is a beautiful city, and please enjoy the Riverwalk and the Alamo and SeaWorld and everything else. The first is that this is a city that has a vision for educating each and every child within its bounds. A couple of years ago, 5,000 San Antonians came together to forge what kind of city we want to be by the year 2020. Actually, by the day, Friday, September 25th, 2020. The number one goal that the community set forward was to engineer one of the greatest turnarounds in education that any big city has ever seen. And we got to work. First thing we did was to develop Cafe College because we found that the ratio between students and counselors in our schools was 420 students to one counselor. So the old idea that you can get this long, sagacious advice from a counselor in our schools too oftentimes is not the reality. As Julio mentioned, Cafe College is free to folks from throughout the city who want expert advice in financial aid, admissions, free ACT and SAT preparation courses. It's one place in downtown San Antonio where anybody can go when they have a question or a dream. We also worked with entities like school districts, our housing authority, our utilities, and others to try and tackle the chicken and egg problem that often bedevils communities. That is, what do you do with low-income areas that are dilapidating, that people are running away from, neighborhoods that it's hard to get folks back into because oftentimes the schools are not up to par. And at the same time, how do you improve the schools when the young people who grew up in these neighborhoods, as soon as they can get out of them, are running away from them? And the morale there is not what it should be. Because of that collaboration, we earned a Promised Neighborhood Grant, and just about a month and a half ago, we're announced for a Choice Neighborhood Grant that will allow significant improvement from pre-K all the way through high school in the east side of our city, which has traditionally been heavily African American and now also Hispanic. We also, as was mentioned just in November, convinced Texans to tax themselves 1/8 of a cent. Yeah, I said it. To pass a tax for the purpose of investing in high-quality, full-day pre-K education for more than 22,000 4-year-olds in our city. And doing so in some untraditional ways, taking a page from what the best charter schools and public schools are doing, like using longer school days, paying our teachers a starting salary of about $60,000, and also expecting more from everybody involved in the education process. More from parents who are going to sign a pledge to be involved in their child's education, to show up to the Meet the Teacher night, to the PTA meetings, to read to their kids. From the students themselves, who are expected to put forth the effort that it takes to succeed by offering wraparound services, because we recognize that oftentimes folks who come from challenging circumstances can't just be dropped into a classroom, even with a great teacher, and you expect them to do great things. And all of this is aimed at the recognition, and this is the second reason that y'all are here at the perfect place, that San Antonio truly represents the new face of the American dream. There was a Liza Minnelli song from 1977 that was popularized by Frank Sinatra, the theme from New York, New York. Y'all remember that song? That if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. In the 20th century, that was true of places like New York and Los Angeles and Chicago. In the 21st century, it's going to be true of places like San Antonio and Phoenix and Dallas and Austin. Places that reflect the changing demographics of our nation. Today, San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the United States. By the time of the 2020 census, Phoenix will overtake Philadelphia to become the 5th largest, and San Antonio will overtake Philadelphia to become the 6th largest by then. We have the opportunity, if we can get things right in this community and communities like it, in your communities, to ensure that good public policy is put in place that will make a lasting impact, not just on the lives of folks here locally, but on the lives of people across the state of Texas and across the United States, and really by what we do here and other places around the world. And so I wanted to say, on behalf of a community that is grateful for y'all being here, that hopes you buy a few margaritas on the Riverwalk while you are here, that we appreciate very much what you do on a daily basis, whether you're a teacher, a principal, an administrator, a policymaker, to ensure that this generation of Americans is able to become an astrophysicist. I hope that this next couple of days is an opportunity for y'all to exchange ideas, to learn about best practices, to rest a little bit and recharge yourself, to recommit yourself, and to remember why it is that you got into this in the first place. My father was a teacher for 31 years, 26 of them in the Edgewood School District here. My wife has been a teacher for 11 years. And so I know that you guys didn't get into this for the pay. But you got into it because every time you hear a young person say that they want to be an astronaut, or they want to be a doctor, or they want to be a teacher, you know that you can have a big impact on making that American dream an American reality. And if all of us can continue to do greater things, we can make this another American century. Bienvenidos. Thank you.